Welcome back, everyone. If you suffer from severe depression, you know that finding treatment can be an ongoing battle.
The FDA has expanded approval for a Johnson & Johnson nasal spray derived from ketamine to allow it to be used as a standalone treatment for patients who have severe depression.
And also, well, we can talk. Are we talking about both things, or are we tossing to our guest now? I'm new on the floor.
Hello. We'll also be talking about coffee, but we can start with the serious stuff first. Hey, Doctor.
How are you guys doing?
Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, so this ketamine-derived spray, this nasal spray, how does this help people who are suffering from depression?
Yeah, so most people who have depression or who know about depression know that the main drugs that we use to treat depression are these things called serotonin reuptake inhibitors, so normal kind of antidepressants. And some people do absolutely awesome on those medications. But some people, it just doesn't quite do enough. So since 2019, there's been studies looking at the use of ketamine, which is typically something we think of as we give kids so that we can straighten their arms. It's like an anesthetic. But at these smaller doses, it works. We don't know exactly why. It affects a different receptor in the brain. But people who don't respond to just regular medications who add on this ketamine can sometimes get remission of their depression.
Wow.
What the FDA just did a little while ago now is they said, you know what, before we always use these in combination. Now they're going to allow doctors to use ketamine alone to try to treat depression. I think that'll be a less common scenario. Ketamine has more side effects. It's a little bit harder to get. I think people will still probably be on normal antidepressants, but then if you're someone who isn't doing well on that, reach out to your doctor and say, hey, talk to me a little bit about this ketamine spray. Might that be an option for me if your depression isn't well controlled?
And I thank you, Dr. Jeff Potta from UW, who I should have introduced before you began. You're wonderful, and it really is important. So many people have tried and go, well, it just doesn't work, and it is something different. So
Yeah,
good to know.
Are there any risks involved? When people hear ketamine, they might
I think so. So not in this formulation. I mean, it's a nasal spray. It's a relatively low dose. Ketamine in general, it's a street drug. You can get it on the street. We also use it in medicine all the time for sedating people, making painful procedures not painful. It can be administered IV for depression, but in a controlled environment. So certainly not something you just want to go out on the street and find, but used under kind of these circumstances, it's pretty safe.
On a lighter note,
coffee. So hearing coffee can be good for us.
This is an interesting study. So there are all kinds of studies out there that look at, how much coffee do you drink? Are there health benefits? And most of them are it probably leans towards there's some health benefits. This study didn't look at how much you drank. It looked at when you drank your coffee. So they looked at all these people. And this is the interesting thing. If you drink your coffee and you stop it before noon, 16% reduction all-cause mortality.
Oh my gosh.
Well, about that.
It depends on your shift, I imagine.
I work in the evening, so I get my big coffee at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, so no 16% reduction for you.
I've had a good run.
The other question I have, and I'm wondering what people have, is how much coffee, as long as I'm doing it before noon?
It didn't matter. So basically, you can drink however much you want. And it also didn't matter whether it was caffeinated or decaffeinated. So it's probably not the caffeine. What researchers have hypothesis, they say, one, it could be that people who have this regular daily routine where I get up, I drink my coffee, their circadian rhythm is better matched. That can reduce risk of cardiovascular disease, things like that. There's this thought of there's some decreased inflammatory properties of coffee. Maybe that's doing it. I think it's probably something about people who get up and drink coffee and everything else they're doing in their lives that maybe reduces that risk. So maybe you do have that benefit, even though you're not drinking your coffee before noon.
So you can have your drum of coffee and just live a long life.
I used to think, I was afraid you were going to say only 2 cups, and I think it's about 4.
Yeah, you're probably still good.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go have coffee now.